Hi there, you're watching and or listening to North of Weatherfield, a Canadian Coronation Street podcast.
And this week, it is a double episode.
Double episode.
We are talking about episodes that aired in Canada from August 5th to 9th and from August 12th to 16th.
So
I hope you've been watching because we had to do a bit of a marathon.
we did. Cut to the theme. My name is Brittlestar.
My name's Shannon.
Not really, though. My name this week is... Oh, damn it. I should have thought of something.
I know, we had 2 weeks.
I know. I'm going to pick... Are you picking something?
Right, Lovey. Well, just, what can you do about Gail? I mean, we should just go on holiday.
Oh, all right. All right. That was Kirk.
I gotta sneeze. Excuse me.
It was that good?
It was that good.
Amazing.
I'm allergic to Kirk, so it made me sneeze.
There you go. As Shannon mentioned at the top of the show, it's a double episode, as it were, for us this week because we just went away to PEI. And it was really hard to do work when we were there.
Yes.
We were so full of beverages and seafood. And also, so we're doing a little bit differently this week because some of you may not know this, and Shannon doesn't like when I talk about this, but Shannon will spend hours, I swear to God, 3 to 4 hours just compiling notes.
However, this is not the reason for the change.
No.
It's an editorial choice.
Don't take that as a sign of weakness, Shannon. You're making it sound like I'm saying we changed because you couldn't take it. It's because I couldn't take watching you do it. So instead of Shannon spending 6 to 12 hours writing out and then turning this into a 4-hour podcast, the summaries... What's that?
That wouldn't have been the case.
I think it might have been the case. Instead of doing that, we've left it to me to do the summaries. So...
Old Mr. Cavalier.
That's me. We're going to talk about a bunch of people this week. We're going to talk about Toyah.
Yep.
We're talking about Mason.
Yep.
Our Paul.
Oh.
Kevin and Abby.
Yep.
And, of course, Jack.
Yep.
Lauren.
Yep.
Of course, Kit and Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. And then there's some miscellaneous events and characters
Oh, okay.
as well. All right?
Yes.
Where do you want to start first? Do you want to get down? Do you want to do the sad stuff first?
I think we got to
have to do the sad stuff first because it was such a big storyline.
We have to get Paul over and done with because my
That's a terrible thing to say.
desiccated eyes can't take it anymore.
You want to get Paul over and done with?
In the discussion this week.
I see.
He's alive.
That's true. He is alive. It was like 2 full episodes that were just focused on just Paul and Billy, essentially.
Pretty much.
At least 2 episodes.
Yeah. Or, well, focused on Paul with what we then knew was him saying goodbye to everybody.
Yeah.
Making his rounds, unbeknownst to them.
Yeah, but what's his face? Todd figured it out.
Yeah.
And Billy eventually clued in.
No, Billy only clued in when
he started playing
the song.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the song first of all. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Do we think that Paul would have "Oh Happy Day" as his choice song?
Yes, because you know why?
Why?
Because that was their wedding song.
I know, but it was a concession at the wedding, I'm sure, as well. There's no way Paul, because even in because he had this dream sequence, which I really liked the dream sequence.
Yes, where he was sort of rave dancing kind of.
Yes, he was all fully physically fit and able, and he was able to dance. And he was dancing, I believe, to Bronski Beat.
I don't know if it was Bronski Beat or if it was like unlicensed ripoff Bronski Beat, but that was definitely the sense I had.
Coronation Street has the power to have full-on real 100% Bronski Beat.
Okay, yeah, no, I think it was.
And I like that. I was like, this is more in keeping with Paul.
Yes.
Right? Because he's come from this sort of, dance, gay club culture.
Yeah.
So, of course, he would be.
Yeah.
That's what he would. Oh, Happy Day is like a...
No, but it was on their wedding, and it was kind of like for Billy because it's a little bit of a religious type song.
It is for Billy. For sure it's for Billy. So anyway, his health as we watched him throughout the episodes was rapidly deteriorating.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
He had lost the use of both of his hands now. He couldn't use his hands.
Yeah.
And then he was starting to choke and he wasn't able to eat. And
Pretty much fully lost his speech.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it was getting evident that he was getting, it was starting to weigh on him. He was realizing, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And so he's talked to Billy before about having this assisted death, as it were.
Yeah.
Not a medically assisted death, a Billy assisted death.
Yeah.
And which is like, okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Because, I mean, medically assisted death is not legal in the UK.
Yeah.
So Billy's putting himself on the line.
Yeah, exactly. For sure he's putting himself in line. Anyway, so his health starts to deteriorate. He says his goodbyes to a bunch of people and all his loved ones and stuff like that. And then he says, it's happening tonight. Tells Billy it's happening tonight. So Billy's reluctant at first.
He's quite angry.
He's
at first.
angry.
I thought, the most range of emotion we've seen from Billy in a while. It's true, though.
It was true, because, I mean...
Billy just goes around sort of old lady tutting nowadays with his super tanned face.
It was good because I do feel like Billy's character, he has this, like, restrained emotion all the time.
Yeah.
And he can't really be himself.
Yeah.
And he's
never really overjoyed or over sad or over angry. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But anyway, so he's angry at first, then he's reluctant, and then he's sad, then he comes to acceptance. He's like, okay. So he gets out the drugs they bought to crush up into a liquid and then essentially feeding tube it to Paul. So Paul says, we're not going to do this today because it's Chesney's birthday. It's not happening today.
Not till after midnight.
Let's wait till midnight.
Yeah.
After midnight.
Yeah.
So it's not on Chesney's birthday. Which I thought was nice. It also reminded me of my grandfather.
Oh, your poor grandfather didn't make that decision.
He did.
Well, no, he did. Your mom said to him, don't die on the Wayne's birthday. And so the poor man held on for about 16 hours longer than he wanted to.
And I went up and I saw him on the Saturday. And my birthday was on the Sunday. And he said, leaving town Monday. I was like, all right, cool. So I respected that. I thought that was good. But then, of course, what I thought was really great as well about that scene, because it was so sad. It was so dire.
Yes.
And it was just like, and especially when they did the edits where there was the ticking of the clock.
Yeah.
So they would like pull out and be like, tick, tock. And it's like every second is like a grain of sand falling out of this timer for Paul. So it was devastating. You were stoic on the couch. You were, you didn't shed a tear. You weren't emotional whatsoever.
That might not be quite true. As a bit of a puddle.
I had to put plastic down.
Yeah, I didn't do well with that.
I can tell we're watching something sad. And of course, like when you become parents, I think everything becomes sad.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter what it is.
No, yeah.
Then when something's actually sad,
Yeah.
it's too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could tell usually because I can see it at the corner of my eye. You usually you take your shirt and you dab your eye with your shirt. And then I saw like both sides of the shirt go up and I was like, uh-oh, we're in trouble now. So it was so sad. But then,
Yes.
in a great moment of life doesn't care what your plans are,
Yeah.
the Chesney shows up,
Yeah.
or calls rather, and says that Karis, one of the idiot quads, that's not true. I like the quads. Just
One of the squatties.
the squads,
The squatties.
squatties, has fell down the stairs. She has to go to hospital with Gemma, and Chesney wants to go too. Can he bring the kids over? So suddenly their whole plans for this big farewell that Paul's been building up to all day long, which I really liked the comedy in that because it was like, that's exactly what life was like.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how grand your plans are.
Yeah.
Life's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So the kids come over, they stay overnight. Joseph, who had been kind of hesitant in Paul's earlier goodbyes to hug Paul
Yeah.
and to get too close to him and stuff, he came around
Yeah.
and they got along really well and he got a hug and all that kind of stuff. It was great. So I thought it was really nice that that they had this moment where it was so sad and then it was just like life took over.
Except that means we're going to have to go through it all again.
But it'll be different though.
I know.
It'll be because he's done all that stuff. They've come to
Yeah.
peace with it.
Yeah. I haven't.
So as it left off at the end though, with that storyline so far. Paul had said, it's not happening today. Mm-hmm. And Billy's like, tomorrow? And he's like, don't know.
Yep.
Which is terrible.
Yes.
And then I think Paul realized you can't torture Billy like this.
Yes, because it's going to be soon. It's not like it's going to be in 2 months.
It's not going to be in a year.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's like, it's torture for Billy to be like, is today the day? Every day he wakes up is full with dread.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice for Paul to give him the heads up. Listen, not tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to stick around. And he kind of had this, do you think he's had this renewed hope for life now?
Paul?
Yeah.
No, I think he is happy he got his goodbyes in.
Yeah.
And I think he won't be anxious to maybe see a lot of those people again. Meaning
he said his goodbyes to
it's going to happen soon.
To the outliers.
Yeah, it's going to happen
Even
soon.
the quads, you think? You think he'll do the quad thing again?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, they're chaos.
Or has he just learned the lesson that life doesn't care?
Yeah, maybe.
He's like, I don't get to choose that easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can play God, but only so much.
But anyway, he said he wants to enjoy as much life as he can with as much time as he has left. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was probably a big relief for Billy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you can see the tan was starting to go from Billy a little bit. So that was a big storyline, and that was a lot. It was very draining.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I can't do it again.
No. But it's going to happen at some point. But it's going to be different. It's going to be different. So we talk about Toyah next.
Yes.
Our Toyah.
Speaking of stoic in the face of medical adversity.
Do you think she's being stoic? Because of course, we found out this past 2 weeks, we found out that she's diagnosed with a tumor.
Yeah.
An ovarian cancer thing, right? And she has decided to undergo treatment alone. Mm-hmm. So as not to be a bother, not to be a liability, because her and Nick have previously kind of hooked up. Not kind of hooked up, totally hooked up.
I mean, I think the reason she said alone was she couldn't handle Leanne with all the Institute mumbo jumbo.
Who's playing that role fantastically,
she
by the
is.
way. She's playing it. Leanne is playing it so well. The actor who plays Leanne is just playing it like that. She's just bought into it.
Yeah, yeah. But I think the reason that she doesn't want to involve Nick in it is because they know that Rowan has pictures of the two of them.
Yeah.
And I think, she doesn't want to put Nick in any more peril of being caught out. But secondly, I think she doesn't want to... I think she feels like she would be going behind Leanne's back if she got Nick to accompany her. Like, meaning if anyone's going to go with her, it should be her sister.
Should be Leanne.
Not her brother-in-law who she's
I agree.
hooked up with.
I agree.
Yeah. But, I mean, Nick is being a very supportive partner to her.
He isn't?
He is.
He is?
Yes.
To Leanne?
No.
Toyah?
Yes.
He's not even her partner.
That's the problem.
But I do like that whole storyline. So as we left off, so Toyah has now, she's initially didn't want to do a treatment alone and all that kind of stuff. But she's come around and she's kind of realized, okay, I need to accept help when I can get help and get the support. And I appreciate the support. And she allows Nick to take her to the appointment and allows essentially Nick and Leanne to help her out.
Yeah, well, I think when faced with the idea of getting on the bus, she's like, you know what? Maybe I can use a little
that would do it for me.
brother-in-law with a car.
That would do it for me as well. Bus ride? No.
Plus also, I mean, if you're going to be undergoing cancer treatments, ideally if you don't have to travel on a bus, you're not going to be traveling on a bus just because of the risk.
So while all this is happening, Rowan is aware of Toyah's health issues.
Yes, from Leanne.
Because Leanne's uploaded all this information, as it were. And
Leanne and Rowan through Leanne are telling Toyah that essentially it's her having not uploaded and purged herself of her own
negativity negative thoughts and
experiences in life is why she's got cancer.
Is why she's got cancer, which was awful to say.
I feel that's what these cults tell you, though.
I think it is too. But I think it was also good that Leanne, Toyah wasn't having any of that. Toyah was like, no.
Yeah, they were both just like, stop talking.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good that she was to do that she was taking that angle. Toyah was like, no, I'm just not going to buy into it. She's not getting self-conscious. She's not, her confidence in reality isn't crumbling, I guess.
Yeah.
Not yet. But Rowan is part of this, like that sort of four people of Leanne, Toyah, Nick, and Rowan. So Toyah's got her own stuff going on health-wise. Nick and Toyah have this concern that they're going to be found out for having their tryst. Is that called a tryst?
Yeah, but what's interesting to me is that I'm not seeing any romantic chemistry between them as such anymore. However, they have a lovely, loving relationship chemistry between them. Like, I feel the two of them...
Which is even more dangerous,
I know. Meaning I feel the two of them just want to, like, cuddle on the sofa and watch a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And you kind of want them to as well, don't you? You're like,
Sorry, Leanne.
Sorry, Leanne. Get out of there.
Yeah, go with Rowan.
Go with Rowan. Exactly. Maybe he'll join the 2000s with his haircut eventually.
He's had it slightly trimmed. He's getting there.
He did have it slightly trimmed. But he's after the investment from Nick, which is an investment, I think, very air quotey investment.
Yes. I mean, he was supposed to be getting that money anyways from Leanne. And then I think now he's turned it into more of a blackmail the money out of Nick rather than get the donation investment out of Leanne.
Because he hasn't expressly or explicitly said to Nick, if you don't give me the money, I'm going to tell Leanne everything.
No.
But he has essentially implied that.
Yeah.
That's the implication.
Yeah.
And he's kind of pressing him for the money. And I can't remember, though, did Nick at the end, has he agreed to give them money?
Well, he had agreed when he and Rowan were talking maybe last week. But then I think it had not happened. And I think Rowan's like, write the check.
Gotta write.
Check.
Yeah, let's get this going. Yeah. But it all comes to a head.
Yeah.
When Rowan basically puts into Leanne's mind that Toyah's cancer is caused by negative thoughts and negative experiences that she hasn't gotten out of her body.
And implying that it's due to Rose's birth and death and the trauma and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just nasty.
And then Nick goes to the retreat that's happening. Is that right?
The conference.
The conference that's happening. It's like a retreat, though, before the retreat.
Oh, yeah. No, I guess,
it's the weekend retreat.
Yeah.
And he goes to the conference retreat thing and gets into a bit of a verbal scuffle with Rowan and then clocks him one. Banjoed right in the nose. Then Rowan's nose and beard hair do not heal from that blood stain for a full episode.
Yes.
I mean, Nick's wiry, but...
Yeah, but also, like, it wasn't an open wound. He still had facial hair there. It just
seemed like a bloody nose.
It just seemed like you needed to just clean it up.
Wipe it off,
soap.
Rowan.
Yeah.
Wipe it off.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. A little warm, wet face cloth.
Yep.
That'll take care of it. So Nick clocks Rowan. Rowan decides, however, afterwards, he's not going to press charges. He's not going to pursue anything. I think it's because, which I thought was not leading, but I thought that was interesting because it showed that Rowan had more on the line and more to lose than he's letting on.
No, I think he has more to gain than he's letting on. He wants the money.
So you think he's using that as one more thing?
Nick,
listen, you're having an affair with Toyah, and also you hit me, I'm going to report you to the police.
But also, if he reported Nick to the police, he might lose Leanne.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I think that Rowan has more to lose than he's letting on.
But if he loses Leanne, he's losing the money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I feel that not even just that, I think there's something else as well. I think that he realized, I think that his veneer is cracking a little bit. And I think that he is more vulnerable than he is presenting himself to be. That's what I think anyway.
I'd like to...
if you can hear that in the background, it's rain. Anyway.
I'd like to... I'm curious, we haven't met anyone else from the Institute. Meaning there must be...
Except Willow, who might be AI.
But there must be someone else local who he's, say, his assistant. I don't know. Like, I'd like to meet someone else from the Institute.
Well, that might be the purpose of having Amy go to the retreat.
She's going to become
she's going to go to she's going to the retreat. We think that she's going She seems to just be going for her own benefit and to learn and to get smarter or to open her mind up to other stuff, whatever. But there's still some suspicion.
Well, she's also looking for business help. And I fear that she will get business help.
I think she sees it as a networking thing. You forget that she's Tracy's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but she's also Steve's daughter.
So we'll see what happens with Amy. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. But I like the fact that she's getting involved because she could be easily misled. However, she doesn't care about letting people down and backing out.
Her age suggests that she could be easily misled. However, she is Tracy Barlow's daughter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I did also like with that Toyah, Nick, Leanne, Rowan storyline, Nick confiding sibling-wise with David.
I know.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too. They've done it a few times recently, and it's nice.
And I feel it's a real sibling type of connection. Because it's like, listen.
Yeah.
It's not even I like you. It's just like, well, I love you because you're my sibling.
Yeah.
And I care what happens to you.
Yeah.
But I don't really care. Mm-hmm. But tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Which I thought was nice.
It was a good sort of more mature version of their relationship.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens with that. I feel, what's your predictions for that? That storyline, not for Nick and David.
I think Amy's going to get roped in further. I think Amy might have access to more money than Leanne does. So Leanne might get her nose put out of joint if Amy starts progressing.
And Rowan shows
very quickly up the hierarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suddenly she's a level 17 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. We'll leave that there and we'll see what happens next. We should talk next about, I guess we should talk about Lauren.
Yes. I'm enjoying Don't Mess Me Around, I Don't Care, Lauren, quite a bit.
Yeah, I feel that she's being a bit too cavalier.
Oh, I worry she is, but I think she also realizes, I think she knows she has to be careful of Joel, but I think she knows that, again, he has more to lose than she does.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to figure out where we are into my many notes.
Does she really want to go to Ireland?
Yeah, I think she does. So she says she wants to go to Ireland.
Yeah.
And she's staying currently in Joel's apartment.
Yes. Which he's told Dee Dee is no longer his.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she keeps asking Joel for cash.
Yeah.
And she's getting bored. Mm-hmm. So he gets her like a crappy TV.
Yeah.
And keeps
some kind of Fire Stick or something.
Yeah, and gives her like some basic groceries.
Yeah.
Right? And she just it just seems like it's a situation that is going to tip over at the edge at some point.
Yes.
Because as we know as well, as part of that storyline, Lauren and Joel, Joel has ordered some sort of drug that will essentially cause the baby to be aborted.
Yes. Yeah.
Miscarry.
Cause her to miscarry. I also thought it was interesting. So we saw Joel's baby Maeve.
Yeah.
The world's smiliest baby.
Yeah.
Who was having a great time.
Adorable little baby.
Yes.
And I think you pegged it. It looks like
I think it might be
original Ruby's.
Original Ruby's little sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
But so that was, I think, a bit of a shock to Lauren to realize that she said, "Oh, my baby has a sister," and Joel got an absolute look of panic on his face.
Like, uh-oh.
And it's like, no.
Yeah.
As far as he's concerned, these are two separate babies.
Yeah.
And never mind, yeah. I guarantee you, as soon as he and Dee Dee get married and sleep together, Dee Dee will absolutely be pregnant. So we're going to now have 3 babies within 2 years, all by Joel.
So Joel ordered this drug to induce a miscarriage.
Yeah.
And he was yelling at the delivery company saying, to let me know when it's here. I need to know it's here when it's here.
Yeah.
Turns out he's at the police station.
Yeah.
And he gets a voicemail from Dee Dee because Dee Dee has been at the apartment and received the package.
Was it at the apartment? Yeah, but at their home apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Dee Dee
not
and
Joel's
Joel's-
apartment.
yeah,
Dee Dee
yeah,
and Joel's place,
yeah.
like Dee Dee's place.
Yeah.
And she receives the package from the guy. It's not addressed to a name she recognizes. Who was it addressed to again? I can't remember.
It was a woman's name,
Yeah.
I think. But yeah, I don't know.
And Michael's there.
Yeah.
And Michael's like, well, I'll open it and find out if there's any paperwork because there was no return address.
Yes.
And he said, I'll just do that. It'll be.
Look for a bill of lading.
Yeah, exactly. Is that what it's called? Lading?
I don't even know what it means, but yeah, I believe so. I don't know.
And he decides he'll do that. And she's like, no, you can't do that. It's against the law. I don't know if it's against the law.
Well, it's that whole thing that people
She signed
get
for
all
it.
riled up about, which is can't open someone else's mail.
Which,
now,
that's true.
But that's not mail.
That's not mail. It's
I
a
think
package.
I think that whole thing is only stuff through the Royal Mail.
Yeah,
Canada
exactly.
Post,
Not through
etc.
some schmo in a van. We cut away from that scene. Nothing's really happened with that package yet. The package hasn't, as far as we know, been opened by Dee Dee or Michael. That was my Michael
Yeah,
impersonation.
thank you for that.
Joel he's listening to his voicemail and you can just see him turning whiter and whiter. And he's like, oh no. And then to top it all off, as he's just finishing that voicemail, he looks over and sees Lauren, who's supposed to be in the apartment, going into the police station.
Wandering into the police station.
That can't be good
And I
for
believe
Joel.
he's now got to go see
And
his
then
client.
he had to go see a client and there was
Yeah.
another person because he couldn't get out of it. He just had to just let it all happen.
Yeah.
What do we think is going to happen? I think she does want to go to Ireland. Do you think that she's going to get to go to Ireland?
No.
What do you think is going to happen?
I think Max is going to convince her to stay. I think Max is going to convince her she needs a bit of a support network.
I think that might be a good guess. 'Cause I think that her, you can see that she's she's becoming more and more easily tippable in a direction.
And I think maybe seeing baby Maeve made her realize, oh yeah, I'm going to have a baby
There's
to look
gonna
after.
be a whole other
I don't know anything
thing.
about looking after a baby.
Yeah, a whole other person to take
Yeah.
care of. Yeah, I think I can see that. I can see Max because she's a good character as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We hope we don't lose Lauren.
And you can see her becoming quite respectable.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, though, just throwing this out
Yeah.
there as a little side story, speaking of babies coming back, Alina is going to be coming back to testify in some kind of human trafficking smuggling case.
That's right.
So
That's right.
Alina was, I guess, a nail tech or something like that, but she was
Yeah.
a Romanian. She was trafficked essentially
Yeah.
to work in a nail salon.
Yeah.
But she started a relationship with Tyrone. Talk about out of your league.
Punching.
Holy, yeah.
Do you remember my favorite thing about that relationship was the huge wall mural they had made, the wall poster. Remember, and
That's
Tyrone
right.
was in like cut off jean shorts and boots.
Yeah.
And like a tight muscle shirt toward a t-shirt type thing, and she was all like short skirt and
Yeah.
she looked great, and he looked like, what are you doing?
Because he left Fizz for her.
Yeah.
And then what I don't think anybody knew, apart from the viewers and Alina, was that when she left to go back to Romania after being essentially rescued out of the
Yeah.
trafficking situation, she was pregnant.
That's right. And to be fair to Tyrone, I've had Fizz's cheese and onion pie, but Alina is a looker.
Oh,
Is
dear.
that two on the nose?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Sorry about that, everyone. Actually, I'm not that sorry at all. But yeah, so she's going to be coming back at some point. That's just kind of leading in
Yeah.
right now as a story that hasn't really taken off yet.
Yeah.
But it's
Been dropped in there.
it's been dropped in there.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to round through to Kevin and Abby and our Jack.
Kevin and Abby.
Okay, let's address this. How many legs does Jack have? I don't care how many he has. I want to know how many he has, though. I'm curious.
I think technically he still has one artificial leg
But that's went from a major storyline,
to just not being a thing at all.
which I mean, fair enough.
yes, yeah.
What do they call that? What do they call the bits?
Prosthetic?
Prosthetics for prosthetics and stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You just get on with your life, and
Yeah.
that's great. But it's never been alluded to Nothing's been said.
No, ever since Tommy O taking him in some kind of football training thing.
Yeah.
Not long after he'd lost the leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and our Jack has come back huge now.
He was gone like 6 months.
Yeah.
And he's grown about 6 inches.
And he seems like, I keep thinking like, what's wrong with this guy? And then I have to think, no, he's still just a kid.
Yes, he's still 15 or something.
He's just one of those kids who's super tall. And you're like, why aren't you more mature?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it's because you're just still a kid.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about kind of alluding to palling around with Hope.
Yes.
And I thought, how old's Hope?
Then you see Hope. She's also getting older.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, the story with Kevin and Abby, of course, is that Abby's son's killer,
Yeah.
Corey,
Yeah.
his dad, Stefan,
Yeah.
has been a thorn in their side. And they know that he's kind of behind, or he's doing something dirty for sure. But they know that he's probably behind the deepfake videos of Abby
Yeah.
that were released.
Yeah.
And Kevin went, of course, we know when he went and he broke into Stefan's office, stole his phone, the burner phone, and brought it back, couldn't get in, went to Max and said, can you get in? You're young. You know computers and high tech. Max was like, nah, I can ask my friend. Didn't work out. Nothing happened. Brought the phone back. Or I think the phone got brought back, didn't it? So Max is in the clear. That's fine. But the phone has just been sitting in Abby and Kevin's place.
Yeah.
With seemingly no effort to do anything with it.
Well, no, it was part of the detente breached. Stefan wasn't going to upload any more videos.
Right.
They would keep the phone and they would promise not to hack into it.
Right.
To prove that it was him.
Yeah.
So everyone was kind of like
Mexican standoff.
Guns drawn.
Yeah.
But holding. Yeah.
Then Stefan contacts Abby and says, hey, listen, Kevin and Abby, come in, let's sort this out. I want to just put this all to rest, put this all to bed. Come on over. Mm-hmm. So they're like, oh, okay, I guess so. And so they go to meet him at the location that Stefan had said to meet him at. Turns out he's not there. But while they're gone, a knock on the door, our Jack goes over with one and or two legs to the door, gets the door, opens the door. Stefan's there, and he says, hey, listen, I own a car hire business, and I'm hoping to talk to your dad. Is he around? He's like, no, he's not around. He's like, well, can I come in and wait for him? First of all, do you think any kid would say sure?
Yeah, I think
do
they
you
might.
really?
Yeah. Yep. And
because Jack says, yeah, I guess so. Come on in. I'd be like, no.
Because he's 15. That's the whole thing. They're
He's
idiots
kind
at
of
that
old
age.
enough.
And that's where kids make wrong decisions. Like, I feel if you'd asked an 8-year-old who was home alone, they wouldn't have opened the door. They'd have been like, nope, I'm home alone.
But Jack's
I'm not supposed
15,
to answer the door.
so he's like, well, I'm kind of old enough to deal with this.
Well, and also I don't want to lose my dad's business.
Yeah.
And, I think that's the danger of kids that age is they, I think, are more likely to get sucked into that kind of thing than a younger kid would.
Yeah. And so he lets him in, and Stefan's like, okay, well, I'll make a cup of tea. And he pretends that the milk is off.
Yeah.
Stefan does. He's like, oh, the milk's off. And Jack's like, oh, the milk was fine this morning.
Yeah.
Another testament to his age.
Yeah, absolutely. He's like, I don't know, maybe milk goes off.
Maybe milk just goes
2
bad.
hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Stefan says to Jack, I'm going to just go get some milk.
She says to Jack, Jack says, I'll go get milk. And Stefan says, I'll give you money for it.
He's like, okay. Mm-hmm. Leaves him in the house. Again, I'm not positive that's the kind of thing that would actually happen.
That bit I'm not so sure would happen. However,
you'd be
the
like,
shop's
no.
2 doors down.
Yeah.
So.
And so Jack takes off, and of course, immediately what happens is Stefan goes rooting through their house.
Yeah.
Finds his burner phone, bolts.
Mm-hmm.
Jack comes back. Stefan's long gone. Kevin and Abby come back. They realize what's happened. The phone, this guy's come. They realize it was Stefan. They show a picture of Stefan to Jack. Jack's like, yeah, that's the guy. I'm an idiot. And feels terrible. Mm-hmm. Jack feels really terrible that he's let this happen and he's put his family into further jeopardy, essentially. And anyway, we leave it at that. And then turns out the next day that Stefan's office has been gutted by fire.
Yeah.
A fire that started in his car.
Yeah.
And then went up to the office.
Yeah.
Which is quite a fire.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks DS Swain comes by, takes Kevin and Abby in because it seems pretty obvious they're probably the people that did it.
Yeah.
They have the most motive, most reason, most motive to do it. And then we find out, of course, who is it that did it?
It's Jack.
Our Jack.
So also up until that time, like I'm trying to think if it was just before Stefan, maybe. I think it was just before Stefan had arrived at the house. So Jack they hadn't talked to him about the deep fake sex tapes of Abby.
Which I thought was weird. It was
So
like, you don't have to go into detail, but you got to prep the kid.
He's 15.
Yeah.
Every boy his age
Of course.
in Manchester has been watching that video. It's been going around, guaranteed.
Absolutely.
Never mind when you can connect it to that's Jack Webster's stepmom.
Yeah. Right or wrong.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. So I couldn't believe that they hadn't told him about it.
That was some poor parenting on Kevin and Abby's part.
Yes. Well, they don't really parent.
They don't.
No.
Because, I mean, that Alfie kid's just kind of shown up
He's
every now
at
and
the
then.
babysitters everywhere.
He's adorable as well.
Yes.
Him and Maeve
Yeah.
stole this past couple of
Yeah.
weeks. Really,
Yeah.
they're both adorable. And then to make matters worse, of course, Kevin's now been arrested for robbery because Stefan has shown the police the videotape of Kevin robbing Stefan's
Yes. And
office.
as they said, poor Tyrone, who'd reported it, had reported the video as a deep fake of Kevin stealing the phone.
Which now
And
seems
then the
like
police
he's,
looked at it
they're
and
like,
said,
it's not a deep fake.
It's not a deep fake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it was Craig who said we have our people looking at it, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Good old Tink.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that was an interesting story. But we'll see what happens with that. What do you think is going to happen with the whole Stefan thing?
I don't care.
You don't care?
I don't care anymore.
You feel like...
I'm done with it. I'm done with Abby and Kevin and it's constant drama over the same stuff, but they're not solving it. And then they're making it worse for themselves and Jack by not telling Jack what's going on. It's too much.
It is too much. I agree. I agree.
I don't care.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
They can just keep Kevin in jail. That's fine.
So speaking of people that I don't care too much about, Mason is back on the scene.
Yes.
Who, of course, terrorized Liam to the point of Liam almost wanting to take his own life.
Yeah.
And terrorized Dylan into making Dylan be complicit.
Also, though, it's been a good week to be the person who can do a bloody face on Coronation Street.
Yes, because Mason's eyelashes are stunning.
They are quite stunning.
Yeah. He reminds me of my mom's cousin's kid. When he was little, he had like really thick eyelashes. But Mason's back on the scene, and he has had some interaction with Stu.
Yes,
on
because
the street.
Stu saw essentially this beat up homeless kid. So he'd seen Mason oddly bedding down in one of the Coronation Street ginnels the night before.
I know, like right in view of the sidewalk and stuff.
But also at the place where you're not, like where your
supposed to be.
enemies are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Manchester's huge. Pick somewhere else.
But so Stu had seen him there, and then he'd seen him the next day in the precinct all bloodied. And so he has a soft spot for homeless people.
Sure, because he was
risk.
having lived it himself.
Yes.
He's like, I can maybe help and get
He's
this
aware
person
that
up.
if this kid isn't homeless yet, he's at risk of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he did not know who Mason was. So Stu went out of his way to try to convince Mason to let him help him.
Yeah.
I did appreciate that he's like, come on back to mine, you can get cleaned up. And he's like, dirty old man, no.
That was a fair.
It's like, yes, that's a fair
thing
assessment.
to say. Exactly.
Yeah.
But then Mason sort of seems, he gets invited to speed doll by Stu. He comes in there, he gets fed, he gets to clean up a little bit with one of Stu's old shirts, which was good because it was ill-fitting. It was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
And then Dylan and Sean come in and see Mason and go, what the hell's happening here?
Yeah.
Why is this guy who caused so much pain and strife for so many people that you know on the street
Getting fed a lovely meal. Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't seem
Yeah.
right.
And Stu was quite horrified.
Stu was horrified because Stu didn't know that he
That
was
was
Mason.
Yeah.
He was that kid. So he feels terrible about that. So initially, I felt bad for Mason. I was like, he's turned a new leaf. He's
Right.
learned his lesson. But then, what does he do?
I mean, he learned his lesson until he got an opportunity to bully again.
Yeah.
So,
And he bullied Dylan.
yeah.
He like punched him a few times in the guts, threw him up against the wall.
Yeah.
And just was terrible to him.
Yeah.
Do we care what happens in that storyline?
I like Dylan. So I care about
Dylan too.
I care about the Dylan part of the
I like
storyline.
Dylan and I like Liam.
Yeah.
I like both of those kids.
Yeah. It's a bit, and Liam and Dylan have never really come back together as proper friends
Yeah.
after all that. So I don't know. Maybe
Could be a rejoining of forces.
Yeah.
But I can also see them at some point, Corey making a character like Mason be like a Mike Baldwin. Like he's going to be he'll come back in a position of power.
Right.
He'll be an employer or something.
Meaning like they'll bring him back in 5 years?
Yeah.
Right.
I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Where he's going to be somebody who's taken over the underworld or something.
Yeah. Now he'll probably bought the builder's yard.
Yeah, probably. It's up for sale
That's
all the time.
yeah.
And just looking through the notes, because you're not missing anything about that. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with Mason. We don't really care though.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, a little bit, but not that much.
Yeah.
Kit, Bernie, Gemma.
Yes. So, as was suggested I'd been thinking that Linda was going to buy the Brown household.
Which seemed like the obvious choice because she
but
seems minted.
Then I saw someone saying, oh, maybe it'll be Kit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah. And sure enough,
It was Kit.
it's Kit. He's
He's still
fine.
waiting for approval.
Still waiting for approval, but he's planning on buying Chesney and Gemma's house and allowing them all to stay living there
And to rent it from him.
him.
So it'll be an investment property. He doesn't need it to live in.
Yeah.
And he gets their rent. They get a place to stay, get to
Yeah.
stay in their house. It all works out.
I predict he's going to use it as further screw you leverage over Bernie.
He
he's
does
gonna
not
say,
like Bernie.
No, he's going to say she can't be in the house or something.
He feels very similar to me about Bernie.
Oh,
I like when he leaned into Bernie's ear at the Rovers and said, this has nothing to do with you. I'm doing it for Gemma and Chesney
Right.
and the kids.
Yeah.
And you will never mean anything to me, or whatever he said.
Yeah, yeah.
The words to his effect.
Yeah.
And I was like, oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, when he was 21, asked to meet her, and she stood him up.
I agree. You
can't toy with people like that.
The stuff when he was a baby, not Bernie's fault.
No, not at all. She was out of it.
Out of it, doing the best she could.
And he was.
But the 21 thing,
21's
now it's her fault.
When he's a baby, it's reparable. The baby's on what's going on.
They're going to live with a better life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when you're 21, then all those feelings must be dredged back up.
Yeah.
So do we like Kit?
No. Although
No.
it is nice. It's a bit unnerving because we see him smiling sometimes now, which he didn't smile
No.
the first
He
month
is.
he was there.
By far the tallest person on Coronation Street. Mm-hmm. Craig's pretty tall.
Yeah.
He's taller than Craig, I'm sure.
Right.
I'm
Kirk's
sure
pretty tall.
Kirk's tall? I think he's taller than Kirk.
Right. Interesting.
He's a tall dude. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I mean, that's just a nice little story. There's nothing really big there happening yet.
Yeah.
It's just like he's doing a nice thing,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
A couple of
Except
go
also
on.
it turned out that Gemma was leading him on. It did seem like she might be honestly telling the truth though when she was talking about how it would be great to get some of the stuff fixed up in the house.
Yeah. And then she was like,
Now-
ha.
Is she haha though, or is she going to be like,
I think she was kind of like, ha ha ha.
yeah, I think it's exactly
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Just see what she can maybe get.
Yeah.
There's been lots of other storylines as well. Of course, there was the Beth who has been making fake T-shirts, sewing T-shirts after hours at Underworld. She's recruited Betsy, D.S. Swain's daughter. to
Yeah.
help
So
her out,
basically making knockoffs. Knockoff couture stuff.
for extra money. She then gives Craig a whole bunch of extra money to hang on to,
Yeah.
cash, because she doesn't want Kirk to find it.
Yeah.
And then there's a invitation that falls out of her locker, and Kirk sees it, and Kirk thinks, "Oh man, she's just going to go to a
So there's some kind of
Destination birthday party.
schoolmate's 50th birthday in
Yeah.
like Ibiza or something. And yes, Kirk is worried that because she hasn't said anything to him, why would she have it? She must be planning on sneaking away there. And so Kirk and Craig are talking, and Craig's like, you're silly. My mom loves you, wouldn't cheat on you, all that kind of stuff. And then Kirk says, well, I guess the only good thing is she couldn't sneak away because she doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
And then Craig thinks, oh, wait a second.
Wait a minute.
I've got a bunch of money for her. I also worry that Craig is going to get himself in trouble with Kit.
Of course he is.
For having cash, because he's going to think he's on the take.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Beth isn't going to be able to admit where the money came from.
But then we kind of found out, though, if we think it's true, that Beth is secretly planning to propose to Kirk and get married properly.
Yes.
Do we think that's true? What do you mean properly? I thought their wedding was proper before.
I don't think they ended up getting married. I think something happened.
It was an 80s theme, and then they ended up not
I feel
getting married.
I don't know, street bombing, something.
Something happened.
I think something happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we'll see if that turns out to be true or not. Summer got dumped by Felix.
Yeah.
Okay, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll be fine. She'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I feel like Felix might have been some kind of, I don't know quite why they brought him in.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's going to be back for something.
I don't think so. I think he's done.
Or she's going to be pregnant. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't understand why we brought him in for such a short time.
I don't understand either because he was quite prominent.
Quite prominent. And also it was weird that, like, I thought she was bringing an American boyfriend back with her.
Yeah.
But he was just from like an hour away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. And of course, touched on the fact that Amy's going to that retreat. We'll see what happens with that. That'll be interesting. And then the Joel and Dee Dee thing is going to progress because Joel's starting to freak out about money because he's spending a bunch of money to keep his old apartment and Lauren
Keep his
alive.
old apartment, keep Lauren. He's got to get Lauren an apartment in
Ireland.
And Dee Dee's like, let's get married now.
Yeah. So that's going to come to a head pretty quick, I think.
Yeah.
I can see that happening in the next week.
Yeah.
It's not going to resolve.
No.
It's going to start to crumble.
Yes.
For sure. And then one of my favorite scenes was Rita and Audrey in the Rovers.
Yes.
Talking about everyone going on vacation. And then deciding, oh, well, let's just, we should do one last hurrah. Let's go one more vacation.
Yeah. Yeah. They were hearkening back to a vacation, I think in the 70s.
1974, which they've shown pictures of that before.
Yes. I feel that some of them.
I think it was like an on-location shot, scene, episode they did.
And I feel some of them went on vacation in maybe the late 90s. And they maybe were referencing back to that 70s episode.
Yeah. But I like that a lot. Do you have a funny moment that you liked?
Yes, I just have, I forgot to look at my thing. Oh, so it was interesting seeing, first of all, just like an interesting note, Maria, Beth, and Craig all sitting chatting and realizing that they're all connected, meaning Maria's brother is Kirk. Kirk is Beth's partner. Craig is kind of like his stepson.
Yeah.
That was just a weird connection. Like, I never think of Maria and Beth as having any connection to each other.
Of course, they're basically sisters-in-laws.
Sisters-in-law.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was nice.
Bernie was, I didn't write down the context of this.
What was it then? Just say it.
So the line was something about, are you blind? And it was, no, I'm waiting for a cornea transplant. A cornea transplant. I must remember that one. That was Bernie talking about.
Someone who was skiving.
Yes.
Someone who was, and it was.
See, I should have made proper notes.
Someone will tell us in the comments, probably. That's for sure.
I also did like when Abby and Kevin, so Debbie offered them a taster meal.
Oh, yeah.
At the Chariot Square Hotel, one of these 11-course meals where you get everything. And they sit down and they're like, what's seafoam? And they just ask if they can have steak and chips instead.
Terrible.
Yes.
Terrible. What was do you have more?
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say my favorite line of this past week, though, was David and Nick talking, and David referring to Leanne and the cult and saying, she's still having chats with C-3PO? That was pretty good.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do me. I didn't make enough notes for my funny bits.
I'm surprised your phone still works after the amount of crying you did this past week.
I know. I should. If I'd had a pen and paper, I would have made full notes.
Oh, it ruined. The ink would run all over the place.
Well, I could get a waterproof pen.
So there you go. That was 2 weeks worth, summarized mainly by me. And Shannon did the first 3 days of the first week.
Well, no, not of the summarizing.
Not of the summarizing.
Just of the note-taking.
Taking copious notes. It's too much. We hope you enjoyed it, though. And remember that you can, first of all, thanks for watching and or listening. And, of course, you can find us at weatherfield.ca, where you can get email notifications every time there's a new episode. And you can also just follow and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, too. You're listening to North of Weatherfield, a Canadian Coronation Street podcast. And is there anything else? And
we've also now found out you can listen to it on your Alexa.
Alexa, play North of Weatherfield. Let's see if it works on someone's place. Well, that went pretty good. I did a good job, don't you think?
You did.
For some reason, I've got 3 times as much paper as you normally have. It's very stressful.
Yes.
But I do like our new turn. Do we care about the storyline? Not really. I think that should be a featured part of the show from now on. Storylines we just don't care about. Thanks so much for watching or listening. We'll see you next week. Take care.